The Buffalo Bills took down the Carolina Panthers today, 29-14 in the Bills preseason opener. And in today's video, we'll be going over the standouts from today's preseason game, including Josh Allen having a big day, DJ Moore looking at like the wide receiver one that we needed him to be, the rookies in TJ Parker and Kani Walker. Deone Walker looked amazing as well. We're going to much more in today's video, so make sure to like and subscribe, and now let's get right into it. Now, Bills fans, there is no better way to start this video than talking about how good of a performance Josh Allen had. In his first preseason action this year, he went 6 for 8 passing for 111 yards and a touchdown. He did get sacked one time, but that's all good. Josh Allen looked absolutely phenomenal. That first touchdown to Keon Coleman, just making a play when there's no play to be made. Typical Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. You love to see it. He's looked so poised and calm in the pocket today. I just loved everything that I saw from the MVP quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. But we had not only a big day from DJ Moore, but also the other two receivers in the big three, and Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman. But starting off with DJ Moore, he had 3 receptions for 61 yards, and he had a big reception for 32 yards down the sideline. And he was kind of, waving at the defender, let's do an Oklahoma drill right now, basically. He looked just absolutely phenomenal, just getting wide open. He had a little bit of an injury scare on his last reception down the sideline from Josh Allen. However, he is all good, and if the Bills were playing in a game that actually meant something, he would have stayed in the game, which is good to hear. Now, when it comes to Khalil Shakir, he had a very good day himself. The first play of the game, the first snap of preseason football for the Buffalo Bills, was a play action pass and a crossing route to Khalil Shakir, who got wide open over the middle of the field. He also had another reception that went for, I believe, about 20 yards, where he just absolutely cooked his defender on a little out route, and he just got wide open, and you love to see it. And when it comes to Keon Coleman, he didn't have as big of a day on the stat sheet as those other guys, but he was the one who had the touchdown. He had 3 catches for 17 yards and that one touchdown that I talked about before from Josh Allen. So pretty big day from all three of the Bills' top receivers. And what today told me was actually, while a lot of people thought that Josh Palmer, including myself, was going to be the wide receiver 3 on this Buffalo Bills team, it seems like Keon Coleman was the one who's actually getting a lot more run with the ones, and Josh Palmer was the guy who was running with the twos. So a little bit of a development there. Keon Coleman might have the upper hand on Josh Palmer at this current moment. But now let's change topics and go to the kicking game in Tyler Bass. This was his first game action since the 2024 season, because obviously last year he was out all year with that sports hernia injury, which left him not really even able to move. So just going to see him back on the field. He went 3 for 4 today. He missed a field goal from 44 yards out, which I was not too happy about. I actually put out a tweet on my X right when he missed it saying we need to bring in a kicker, but he redeemed himself on the next possession, making a 46-yard kick and making the remainder of his kicks throughout the entire game. So a pretty decent game from Tyler Bass overall. However, I still think we need to bring in a little bit more competition because I missed 44-yard field goal. You just can't be having it. Now, before we get into the big performances from the Bills' backup QBs, we got to talk about this running back room because they had themselves a day. Starting off with Ian Wheeler, he was the Bills' leading rusher today. He had 7 carries for 41 yards and a touchdown. A touchdown was scored in the fourth quarter to make it 23-7. He had himself a pretty big day today. Frank Gore Jr., he also had another big day. He had 7 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown himself. He scored his touchdown after the Ian Wheeler touchdown. So those two had themselves some really, really good games. And then when it comes to Ray Davis, he had only 3 carries for 21 yards, so 7 yards per carry. You absolutely love to see that from Ray Davis. But where he really made his big impact was in the receiving game, actually. He had 4 receptions for 32 yards, and that could be a kind of an indicator that the Buffalo Bills will be using the running backs a lot more in the passing game, especially considering the fact that Ray Davis was tied for the most receptions on the team, only behind tight end Kaleki Latu. But like I just briefly mentioned before, the Bills' backup quarterbacks actually looked very solid today. All training camp long, they have been not the greatest, throwing interceptions left and right in practice. However, in real game action today, they both shined. Starting off with Kyle Allen, he went 14 for 16 for 108 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So while the no touchdowns, no interceptions is a good thing, he did go 14 for 16 for only 108 yards. So he was not really getting a lot of yards per attempt. However, he did what he had to do. He completed passes, he kept drives alive. I can't complain too much when it comes to talking about Kyle Allen today, like I usually do. And Shane Buechele, he went 6 for 9 for 50 yards. So played a little bit less than Kyle Allen. He went 6 for 9, so you can't complain. 50 yards, not too shabby at all. but it seems like Kyle Allen could be that current QB2 for the Buffalo Bills just because of how much more he played than Shane Buechele. We will see how this continues to play out as the preseason continues along. But now it is time to talk about my favorite part of today's game, and that was Jim Leonhard's defense. They just completely dominated the Carolina Panthers all day today, and Jim Leonhard, I have to give him credit, even running a vanilla defense, his team looked phenomenal. The defense today had 8 tackles for a loss. They had 4 sacks, 5 QB hits, an interception, and 4 pass deflections. They were just dominating the Carolina Panthers today. Not only their backups, but even when Bryce Young was in, they had 2 straight 3-and-outs to start the game. You'll have to see it. Another common theme under Sean McDermott was that the first drive of the game, we typically allow a touchdown or at least a field goal at the very least. But when it comes to Jim Leonhard, he comes out attacking. He doesn't wait to see what the offense does. He makes the offense adjust to his defense, which is the biggest change, in my opinion, from this current defense to the old one. And when talking about the defense specifically, you have to go to that defensive line who just had themselves a day today. But let's keep it on topic with the starters because the 3 players that absolutely stood out to me today were Deone Walker, Bradley Chubb, and Greg Rousseau. When it comes to Bradley Chubb and Greg Rousseau, they were just getting consistent pressure throughout the entire time that they were in the game. Literally every single rep, it seems like they were threatening Bryce Young by collapsing the pocket. And then when it comes to Deone Walker, that is such a big boy up the middle. He is a budding superstar for this Buffalo Bills team. He is a true hit for Brandon Beane in that last year's draft class. He looked absolutely phenomenal today. Early on in the game, he had a big run stuff, holding the defender or the running back to 0 yards. So almost a tackle for a loss. Got to mention that right there. But then also, when I play the start of the second quarter, with about 11 minutes remaining, Bradley Chubb and Greg Rousseau both collapsed the pocket, and that led to Deone Walker being able to push up in the pocket and get a sack. And it was just a beautiful sight to see. I know you guys are definitely watching that game. And that's probably my favorite part, just how good Deone Walker looks. Now, really quick before we get into the rest of the highlights, we have to talk about a potential trade for the Buffalo Bills. Now, last night the Buffalo Bills were mentioned as a team that have officially reached out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers about nose tackle Vita Vea. Now, what does this mean when it comes to the Buffalo Bills? A trade is not guaranteed. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers still hold the stance that they are not going to be trading Vita Vea. But could you imagine a defensive line with Vita Vea and Deone Walker up the middle with Ed Oliver right next to them, and on the edge you have Bradley Chubb and Greg Rousseau? I mean, that's just a Super Bowl caliber defensive line. You cannot convince me otherwise. So, Bills fans, we now have official word that the Bills have reached out on a trade for Vita Vea, and we will see if a trade could eventually get done. But Bills fans, let me know what you guys would give up in a trade for Vita Vea. Would you give up a piece like an Ed Oliver to get that trade done? In my opinion, you definitely do not. You avoid giving up a player on this defensive line, or at least a starter player on this defensive line in either Deone Walker or Ed Oliver. Otherwise, there's no point in trading for Vita Vea, in my opinion. Bills fans, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But next up, we got to talk about a man who I have not been talking about often, and a position battle that I've not been talking about enough on this channel, and that is that last edge rusher position between Mike Danna and Javon Solomon. When it comes to Javon Solomon, he looked pretty good today. He was getting a lot of pressures. He looked explosive off the line, and you could definitely tell that he fits better in this 3-4 defense where he played in college at Troy and had 16.5 sacks in his last season in college football. But when it comes to Mike Danna, he had 2 sacks today, back to back. One of them being on 4th down to end the Panthers drive. And Mike Danna, on all of his rushes today, he just looked explosive. He looked good, and he was able to get to the quarterback very, very quickly. So we have that now battle between Mike Danna and Javon Solomon, and it will be interesting to see what happens throughout the rest of training camp because of the fact Javon Solomon was getting those reps before Mike Danna, which would show that he is above him in the pecking order. However, Mike Danna, he was able to finish plays by getting those 2 sacks. That's something that Jim Leonhard was preaching just the other day. I had it in my last video. Jim Leonhard is preaching just finishing plays, finishing sacks, and that's what Mike Danna did today. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets that leg up now on Javon Solomon. But now, Bills fans, we got to talk about all of these Bills rookies from today's game. There were way too many standout performances from the rookies for me to just put them, in different, standout sections. We got to talk about them all in one. You guys see this tweet on the screen right here from Bills on Real. The Bills rookies 8 today. These are the stat lines from all those players. TJ Parker, 1 sack, 1 QB hit, 1 TFL. TJ Parker looked really good off the line. You could tell that he has been trading with Bradley Chubb this offseason, getting his first unofficial sack of his NFL career. Jalen Kilgore, 1 tackle, 1 pass deflection, and that 1 pass deflection came on a third down, or it was either a third or a fourth down. It was a play action pass. Jalen Kilgore was running with the QB, got his hands up, ended a drive for the Carolina Panthers. He was just making plays all day today. I think that he has to be getting reps over Geno Stone for the rest of training camp because Geno Stone did not look too good today. And I really believe that Jalen Kilgore should be that guy getting those reps next to DeMar Hamlin. And moving on, we have Toriano Pryor Jr., 6 tackles, nothing to write home about. Caleb Elarms, or my boy, 5 tackles. He looked really good today. He just looked fast, explosive, and aggressive on the field, which you'll love to see. And that's been the theme with him all offseason long. Next up, we have David Igbinosun, or Davison Igbinosun, and man, he looked good today. 34 snaps, 7 yards allowed. Love to see that. Zane Durant, 2 tackles. And then Kani Walker, the boy, the guy I've been talking about all offseason long, the undrafted free agent cornerback, had himself a day today. A huge interception. He jumped a screen pass for that first interception, not only of his career, unofficially, but the first interception in the history of the new Highmark Stadium. Man, I could not be happier for Kani Walker. I've been rooting for him, and I think today he officially sealed the deal that he will be making this Buffalo Bills 53-man roster as a cornerback for Bills fans. Let me know you guys think that today kind of sealed the deal for him. But Bills fans, that's going to do it for the preseason highlights and standouts from game 1 against the Carolina Panthers in our 29-14 victory. Let me know your biggest takeaways from today's game and analysis in the comment section down below. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you never miss another Buffalo Bills update. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Bills.